Recently, Donald has been ramping up military pressure on Venezuela. The problem is we don't really know why. Is he simply trying to distract from multiple scandals and our tanking economy? Is there some corrupt motive at play? Is he just being reckless? Because what is happening? The ways in which he is misusing the US military to murder Venezuelan citizens, it's all very dangerous. CBS News reports that this week, after increasing the U.S. military presence in the Caribbean, Donald refused to rule out sending troops into Venezuela. Again, the question is why? Take a look at his remarks on the matter.
Decision about what you want to do next about Venezuela. I understand you don't want to tip your hand, but is there anything you're ready to rule out at this point? Are you ruling out U.S. troops on the ground?
No, I don't rule out that. I don't rule out anything. We just have to take care of Venezuela. They dumped hundreds of thousands of people into our country from prisons. Nobody knows better than this young lady right here. She's done an incredible job with Tom Homan and all of your people. It's amazing. You know, we have a tight border right now. Nobody comes in.
Wow. Okay. Lie after lie after lie. And I think that was puppy murderer Christy Nome in the background saying, yep, that's right. Venezuela's dumping hundreds of thousands of people from prisons and insane asylums, and the border is completely closed now, and nobody's getting to the United States of America. Let's say, for the sake of argument, Venezuelans were coming into the United States. The numbers certainly aren't that big, and that would not justify going to war against another country. The U.S. has deployed an aircraft carrier, roughly 15,000 military personnel, and frequent F 35 flights to the area from Puerto Rico. Additionally, the Trump regime has designated the country's Cartel de los Sols as a foreign terrorist organization, which is another very troubling development. Officials say this could be used to justify attacking targets inside Venezuela, just as by declaring Antifa a terrorist organization with the United States, an organization which, by the way, doesn't exist, Donald can justify arresting, detaining, and disappearing anybody for being a terrorist in the United States. Meanwhile, this country's strikes on alleged drug smuggling boats have continued. At least 22 boats have been attacked, killing over 80 people since September. This is murder. Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro has appealed for a truce, but a truce for what exactly? For much of the year, the Trump regime has been accusing Venezuela of all sorts of nefarious activities, including this accusation by Stephen Miller that Venezuela is harboring terrorists. Take a look.
Would the administration consider putting U.S. troops on the ground in any capacity inside Venezuela?
Well, I would refer to what Secretary Higgs said yesterday in terms of how the Department of War is viewing the issue of the strategies that are being used to fight these terrorists in the Western Hemisphere. And I'll just continue to reiterate what I've said before. I know that you want more detailed answers than I can provide, but these are terrorists and they're going to be killed. Thank you very much.
These are terrorists and they're going to be killed. And in the process of killing them, murdering them, we're going to blow up any evidence to prove our case. Yeah, because that's how it works now in Donald Trump's America. Over the weekend, Donald also accused Venezuela of smuggling drugs to the United States and of sending criminals into our country under the Biden administration. Here's what he had to say.
Are any other countries committed to helping the U.S. with Venezuela, or is all our action still?
Yeah, we have great support because it's all about drugs. Well, in Venezuela's case, it's about drugs, and it's also about thousands, hundreds of thousands of people that they've released into our country. And some are gang members from Tren de Aragua. Some are many are drug dealers. Some are murderers. So in the case of Venezuela, it's the prison population. Their almost entire prison population was released into the United States. You know what that means? Their prison population was released into the United States. And we're getting it out. We're doing an amazing job.
Are there seriously still people who believe this shit? We're supposed to believe that Venezuela emptied all of its prisons and then Joe Biden just said, oh, send them on over here. Oh, and make sure they bring all of the drugs with them. But before we go on, we need to continue to focus on the illegal, extra-legal, and unconstitutional actions of the Trump regime. So please like and share this video. And if you believe in our mission, please subscribe to the Mary Trump Media channel. Is there any factual basis for Donald's accusations of Venezuela smuggling massive amounts of drugs into this country? No. A Washington Post investigation found out the Caribbean route where these boats have been targeted is not used for fentanyl trafficking. Further, these waters are rarely used for smuggling drugs to the United States at all. This area is primarily used to traffic marijuana and cocaine from Venezuela to Trinidad and Tobago for shipment to Europe and West Africa. Current and former U.S. officials told the Washington Post that Donald's smuggling claims do not match the findings of U.S. intelligence. One senior national security official went so far as to say, quote, "When I saw an internal document on the strikes, I immediately thought, this is not about terrorists. This is about Venezuela and regime change," unquote. But there was no information about what it was really about, unquote. And they don't want us to have information. They want to keep muddying the waters. So enough people believe that where there is smoke, there must be fire, therefore justifying their illegal actions. Again, Donald is ordering the U.S. military to murder people. Recently, Democratic Senator Chris Murphy shared his own theory about Donald's actions towards Venezuela. Take a look.
Well, it seems pretty clear it's just an effort to distract people from the rising prices and from the Epstein scandal. No one wants a war with Venezuela. To the extent they're claiming it has something to do with the drug trade coming into the United States, the majority of drugs don't come through the Caribbean. They come via a land route that the president is ignoring because he is so focused on this absurd, illegal military campaign against Venezuela. So I don't think he'll find much support amongst Republicans or Democrats in this country for it. And by the way, it's wildly illegal. The president can't start a war with a nation without a congressional authorization. It's just another sign of how out of control and how lawless this president is, and another signal to Democrats as to why we need to draw those firm moral lines in the sand right now to constrain his growing illegality.
Yes, he's increasingly out of control with the considerable help of the Republicans in Congress, who seem perfectly willing to cede their constitutional responsibilities to the executive branch. So who knows where this is going to end. But it does look like at least some of Murphy's colleagues in the Senate are taking Donald's increasingly dangerous and unconstitutional and illegal actions seriously. The New York Times reports that House Democrats have introduced a war powers resolution. This would require a military campaign against Venezuelan drug cartels to secure congressional authorization. Here's hoping it passes with the help of Republicans, but I wouldn't hold my breath. It does not, however, do anything to address the fact that the U.S. military has murdered over 80 people. Here's hoping it will at least prevent more murders from being ordered. Please take a second and like and share this video. It'd be awesome if you could subscribe to the channel. If you're listening to us in podcast form, please follow us and give the show a 5-star rating because it really does help other people find our content. Thanks.